All right, I'm going to show you what to do with your square cheese once it's on the computer. So what I did is I finished my drawing. I took a photo of it, okay, and then I sent the photo to my email, opened up my email and downloaded it on my computer. I opened up Photoshop, and then here it is, okay? Now, before you do anything, my drawing looks pretty good, but I'm going to just see if it really is good. And by that, I mean, are my lines dark enough? Okay, and a quick way to do that would just be to choose your paint bucket and choose a color, really doesn't matter what, and click in an area, and you can see when I clicked in this area here, the paint went everywhere, which means my lines aren't dark enough, okay? So it's really important that you have dark lines when you photograph it, but if they're kind of dark, you might be able to make some adjustments in here with not too much trouble. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go up top here, and I'm gonna go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast, okay? Now what I'm gonna do, the contrast makes the lights lighter and the darks darker. I'm gonna make my drawing a little bit darker overall, and then I'm gonna adjust the contrast so my dark lines get darker and my light areas get lighter. Then I'm gonna say okay. Now I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast, and I'm gonna make it just slightly darker. And I'm gonna make my contrast real high. So I'm making my lines darker and it's making the light areas lighter. And that might be a solution. We're gonna find out. So I'm gonna say okay. So I've made some changes to it. Now I'm gonna take my paint bucket and try again. Now it's still leaking. That means there's still, these lines still are not dark enough. Now look, I clicked in there and it worked there. I click in the top, it leaked everywhere. So I'm doing Control Z after these. So once again, you can see if I click there, it went everywhere. If I click here, it goes everywhere. So there's some areas that still need work. So I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. I'm gonna go a little darker. That way my whole picture gets a little darker. Now I'm gonna go Contrast. I'm gonna go the darks darker and the lights lighter. Okay. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Slightly darker and hit the contrast. Now if I go too much contrast, you might end up making some other areas dark. So just kind of, let's do that. I'm gonna say okay. Now I've made 2 more adjustments. Let's take my paint bucket and try again. Still leaking. Well, it's okay there, it's okay there. It's okay there. So it's okay in a lot of spots still. But you can see some areas it's not okay. So I'm gonna try it again. Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Go a little darker, we'll go with my contrast a little bit more. Okay, let's try it one more time. It's still leaking. Now, another thing you can do is you can darken the line specifically by taking your burn tool. Burn tool looks like a hand right here. And I'm gonna burn the shadows, which means the dark areas. So I'm gonna rub it over the lines, which should darken my lines in a little bit. So I'm gonna try that, okay? And then we'll see if that makes a difference. So right now I'm rubbing over the lines, darkening the lines, seeing if that makes a difference, okay? And once again, the main thing is if you put your drawing in here to begin with really dark, sharp lines that are connecting with no leaks, you won't have any problems, okay? But if you otherwise, you're gonna go through steps like I'm going through right now. Okay, let's try the bucket again. It's still leaking, still got an issue, okay? Now, another thing you can do is you can redraw the lines on your computer, but you don't wanna do tons of that because that takes time. So let me show you how you do that. You could take your pencil, and I'm just gonna zoom in here on part of the drawing. Let's zoom in. Let's say this line looks pretty sketchy right there. So I'm gonna take my pencil, I'm gonna adjust it and change it to black. I'm gonna make a black pencil. I'm gonna go right there. I'm gonna click here and then hold my shift key down and click, cancel. Take my pencil here, click right there, hold my shift key down and click right here. And it'll put a straight line between them. Now if my line's a little too thick, you could change your line thickness. I'm gonna change my line thickness up here to, it's a 15 right now. I'll change it to a 9, that's probably a little better. And I can just look at my drawing really quick. If I hold my space bar down, I can move the drawing along and look for any lines that aren't that good. This line here doesn't look so hot, so I'm gonna click right there, then hold my shift key down and click right here. and I just darken that line in. So you can clean up lines. Don't worry about these eraser lines, these ghost lines. We can get rid of those later. You might be able to just click on the background and they might disappear. So once again, I'm gonna click here, click there, hold my shift key down. There we go, let's click here and right there, hold my shift key down. There we go. So I'm just cleaning up a few of the lines. Now I don't wanna spend a ton of time doing this. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna check it again. So take your paint bucket and click in an area and look at that. Okay, I don't want it to be on that color though. Okay, it looks like it's working other than a little corner here. Okay, so you can see that's how you get your drawing ready to have colors put into it.